Hey everybody, what is going on? Here to give you guys this week's edition of Tabloids and Trending Topics with T. Always first, church announcements. First, there really isn't a whole lot that I saw that happened. There's a lot that happens, of course, in a week, but some of it just wasn't really entertaining enough for me, and it was a lot of heavy shit that happened this week. So I'm gonna try to keep it lighthearted. I'm probably not gonna, well, in terms of camera footage, I'm probably not gonna be on here long. But of course, with all the add-ons, it'll probably be a decent sized video. Fingers crossed. So first thing, second thing, with all of the drama surrounding the Queen's Court, I will not be covering that. One, because in order to do that, one, I would actually have to do a completely separate video that would actually be long, very long video. But at the same exact time, there's been more than enough commentary and more than enough people trying to get their videos in and views by the 15th so they can get that check on the 22nd. It's way too much for me. I really just hope that these girls will be able to reconcile and come back together, or at least would have been able to not let this play out publicly. But that's all that I'm really going to say about that. If y'all want to hear commentary, there's more than enough. And yeah, with that being said, we always got to start off by giving flowers. Not as much as we had last week, but definitely enough to kind of like, I guess we could say shake the foundation, shake things up. So first, a get well soon to Wendy Williams. She she appeared. It appeared to me at first glance during one of her shows this week. I think it was either the 12th or 13th. She was walking down the stairs, and it seemed like she was about to have a dizzy spell, but she quickly caught herself, and it's because of that she actually I believe canceled shows for the rest of the week, and she is saying that these are possible complications to the flu. So I don't really know if that is true or not. I am not a doctor. I am not a physician. What I will say is, if something is truly wrong with her, I want Wendy to, truly go and get help, because she appears to be sickly, has lost a lot of weight and whatnot. So if there is something that she's battling, the show and the people can wait, but your health is what comes first. So definitely a get well soon to Wendy Williams. Rest in peace to Fantasia's nephew. Let me see, Taiwan Barrino. He passed away from multiple gunshots, according to TMZ. It appeared to be, I guess, like a little heated discussion outside of a residential complex in Greensboro, North Carolina. And like I said, it ended up on the streets. And the young man was shot several times. Paramedics came, pulled some life-saving techniques, transported him to the hospital, but he died shortly upon arrival. And I don't have the shooter's name, but from what I heard, he's been apprehended. So hopefully, there's not really a whole lot of justice that can be had. I mean, if he's been captured, then of course the justice system is going to work the way it's going to work. But definitely, rest in peace, rest in power to this young man. Prayers and condolences to Fantasia and her brother. I believe his name is Rico. That is his son. So I know that he is definitely taking this very hard. So thoughts and prayers to the Barrino family. And I guess the biggest thing to happen this week, there was a shooting in Florida, in a Florida high school, that resulted in, I believe, 18 dead and 1 wounded. So that story I'm actually going to get into, but for this, Definitely, rest in peace, rest in power to those that have died, to the one that I believe is wounded, hopefully a speedy recovery, to the parent that had to endure, that are enduring and having to, plan for their children's burials, because of course no parent ever wants to bury their children. Definitely my heart goes out to them, to the students that were there when all of this chaos was going on. Seriously, I'm praying that they get better, and I hope that the parents do right by them and actually get them some counseling, because this can come back up in their lives later on. Okay. So with that, let's talk about the shooter. So I'm not going to sit here and be nice. I'm not like there's really no reason to be nice. But we're going to call him exactly what he is. I can't necessarily say he's a white supremacist, and even though there was a white supremacist group, Republica of Florida, that was actually backing him, saying that they trained him, and the guy's name is Nicholas Cruz. But I will say that he's definitely a terrorist, because this happened at, I think it's Majority Stone Douglas High School. The guy in question, 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz, he legally purchased an AR-15 machine gun, and he purchased this when he was 18, and he committed this mass shooting at 19. Cruz is adopted now. I'll try to come back to that. The family lawyer, Jim Lewis, has said that it was his gun. The family made him keep it locked in a gun cabinet in the house, but he had a key to it. I don't know why he had a key to it, but he did. So, but he, like I said, they're pushing the narrative that he bought it legally. A white nationalist militia is claiming to have ties with him. The guy's name is Jordan Jarrett, and he pretty much said that Nicholas Cruz participated in one or more training drills with his group and had carpool with other members to Tallahassee for the exercises. Now, yes, this would consider him to be a white supremacist, but the only thing is this is a developing story. So I'm not going to put that label on him just yet until more comes out. But like I said, definitely a terrorist, because from what I understand, 19 years old, still in high school, got expelled, decided to go to school just shy of them getting out. And the school had a previous fire drill early in the day, so he goes in to pull the fire alarm. It's waiting outside. The children inside the school just think that this is just another drill, and they come out. And I think they came out first, or he threw in a smoke. No, I believe he threw in a smoke grenade, and then they all came out. And as they're coming out, he is picking them off. And a group goes back in, telling everybody, no, stay inside, stay inside, stay inside. And then he then comes in and he is firing off while he's there. And when the police get there, he pretty much disarms himself, takes off, and he also had a vest on, takes all that off to blend in with the other students, and literally walked off. And they said that after, I forget the time frame, but they found him, give or take, within a couple miles of the school. And then he was apprehended and taken off to jail. Trying to see if there's anything else before, let me see. It has been said that Cruz had run-ins with the FBI and cops dozens of times in the last 6 years. One report says sheriff deputies responded to his home more than 35 times in the last 6 years, and this is according to Fox News. And BuzzFeed reported that 36 911 calls were made in the community where Nicholas and his family stayed. And one caller described Cruz and his brother repeatedly threw items, were out of control, and fought with their mother and each other on a regular basis. So, that's the gist. I'm going to show you guys a couple of news clips, And there will also be a diagram that what's a guy named Jordan Jerub of this militia, this white supremacist group, posted, kind of showing the breakdown of how everything goes. And apparently, allegedly, other white supremacist groups got very upset, and he's pretty much putting the business out there on Front Street. So I'm going to show you guys that, and then I'm going to come back with what I have left.
Breaking news, you might say heartbreaking news. A heartbreaking day in Florida, and sadly an all too familiar one. 17 people are now confirmed dead. We know at least 3 people still in critical condition after police say that a shooter, believed to be just 19 years old, opened fire at his former high school. Over and over again this year, we have seen, heard, and reported on sad and harrowing scenes like this one. How many depends on how you define a school shooting. This is the 4th shooting at a middle or high school just this year, in 2018. You see chaos, terrified students, their hands on their heads, running to safety, frightened parents rushing to the school, waiting for word on their children. Are they dead or alive? And watching, as you see here, heavily armed SWAT teams, armored vehicles surrounding Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. According to students, it was about 2:30 in the afternoon, just 10 minutes before the end of the school day, when the fire alarm went off. And that, they say, is when the gunman began shooting.
I heard screaming. I heard about 5, 6 gunshots. We thought they were firecrackers because it sounded like them. We weren't sure what was used. And we heard the police yelling. We heard banging on the doors.
It's insane. It's unnecessary. There's no words to describe how I feel right now. Like I was shaking. I was panicking. It was just all out panic throughout the school.
Panic. The school was quickly put on lockdown. This picture from a student huddled on the floor after hearing shot after shot. Police say the shots fired from both inside and outside the school. The victims, both students and adults. Many students hiding in their classrooms and closets for more than an hour until authorities were able to track the gunman down. Law enforcement sources tell CNN the man that you see here is the suspected shooter, handcuffed in police custody. His name, Nicholas Cruz. We are told that he was taken without incident at the high school. President Trump tweeting shortly after, quote, "My prayers and condolences to the families and the victims of the terrible Florida shooting. No child, teacher, or anyone else should ever feel unsafe in an American school." It is the kind of official response we've heard after each of these deadly shootings. Rosa Flora is out front near the high school in Parkland, Florida. Rosa, what are you learning just in the last hour about what authorities know about the shooter and the shooting tonight?
You know, at this hour, Jim, we're learning that a bomb squad is scouring through this school. Now, we've learned that the school is a very big building. It's got portable buildings as well. So they are doing this as a precautionary measure. Now, this is after 4 to 5 SWAT teams swept the entire building to make sure that the building was safe. The bomb squad now inside, and we're told that once that happens, then the medical examiner will get access and law enforcement will begin to process the scene. But we are learning a few more details about the shooting from the sheriff from Broward County. He says that the shooting actually started outside the building, that the shooter moved inside, leaving behind a deadly trail. We know that 17 people are dead, 12 people dead inside. And as you mentioned earlier, the intense moments where students were trying to communicate with their parents and parents were trying to do the same, and administrators and teachers were trying to keep calm and peace inside that building so that students could be safe. The dramatic moments, of course, were exchanged through text messages with parents, as parents didn't want to call students because they were afraid and they wanted to make sure that they could communicate with them in a safely manner. Again, at this hour, investigators here telling us that this scene will be processed. It will take time, Jim. As you know, it's painstaking and, of course, extremely graphic and painful for those investigators that will have to go through that school room by room as the deadly trail from this suspect was left behind.
And for the parents, because certainly there are parents tonight who are getting word that their children did not survive That was Rosa Flores live there at the scene of the shooting. The alleged gunman, now identified by police as Nicholas Cruz. He's now in police custody. Shimon Prokopez is working his law enforcement sources. Shimon, what do we know about this suspect? Because there is some word there were warnings about him prior to this shooting.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There were warnings, certainly from students who have talked to reporters at the scene who have said that they warned, that they knew that this would happen. They all talked about that he liked guns, this shooter. So he was well known, at least to the students. And the other thing here, we've actually learned a lot, Jim, when you think about it. In the press conference that the sheriff held, a short time ago, we learned that the shooter here, Nicholas Cruz, had an extensive social media presence. The sheriff didn't really go into a lot of detail about that his social media presence, but we learned that there were things on his social media that concerned them, and he sort of talked about that. We also have learned, obviously, his age. We learned that he was expelled from the school about a year ago or so for disciplinary problems. We don't know exactly what those issues are, and obviously there's still a lot of things we don't know, but these little things that we do now know from the police, from the sheriff, are going to be key in this investigation, and it's going to play an important part, and also has given us kind of a window into perhaps what was going on with this young man who seemingly, by all accounts, was known by two students at the school. So the question really now becomes is what people knew, when did they know it, and why didn't they report it? Because it certainly seems when his name was thrown around that he was possibly the shooter, people were not surprised.
Shimon, we're also learning about the weapon, and sadly, the kind of weapon we see used so often in mass shootings like this.
Yeah, we are learning, and I want to be careful here because these AR-15, we're told it's an AR-15 style weapon that was used here. It's a large capacity, can fire a lot of rounds. We know that this type of weapon has been used in other shootings. We've talked about this weapon. We've talked about how shooters can access this weapon, and it's been used in several mass shootings. The police, the ATF now are tracing the weapon. There's a serial number perhaps on it that they can now trace to try and find out exactly how he came into contact with this weapon, whether it was purchased by him, whether someone purchased it for him, and that's all going to factor into this investigation. But like I said, Jim, by all accounts, it seems that students at the school were aware. This is a high school, that students there were very much aware that he was into guns.
17 people killed in a mass shooting at a Florida high school. You say people, most of them kids, high school kids. We're learning more tonight about the 19-year-old suspect's weapons and about clues from his social media. CNN Crime and Justice reporter Shimon Prokopaz joins me now with more. Hey, Shimon, thank you so much for joining us.
Sure.
You know, breaking news tonight is about what happened. I understand you have some new news tonight on the shooter's background check. What can you tell us?
That's right. A lot of questions throughout the day about this weapon, the AR-15 style rifle that he used in the shooting. We're now learning from U.S. officials who've been briefed on this investigation that the shooter purchased the firearm. They now have information. The ATF has been tracing this firearm, and what we're being told by U.S. officials is that he purchased this himself. He went into a gun store and was able to purchase this AR-15 on his own. We believe that it was done in the past year, and key here is that he passed the background check. Now, Don, what's interesting here is because he's 19, and so if he purchased this a year ago, let's say he was 18, that's perfectly legal. You can purchase this style of weapon at a firearms store at his age. What you can't purchase is a handgun because you have to be 21 to purchase a handgun. So it's kind of an interesting piece of detail here that there is nothing essentially preventing him from purchasing this weapon.
See, you have to be 21 to purchase a handgun, but only 18 for an assault-style weapon.
That's the federal law. Essentially, there was nothing preventing him, not his age, nothing in his background, from purchasing this.
That makes absolutely no sense. Do we know anything about search warrants? Shimon,
Yeah.
I'm hearing there's new information about that.
Yeah, so the local police there, along with the FBI and the ATF, all working together here. We know of at least 2 search warrants that are being executed, that are police and the FBI and ATF are in the process. One of them, we believe, is his home, and then there's another location. We're not sure what the other location is, but at this point, you know, it's usually expected in these types of situations. They go to the homes, they grab the computers, whatever else, to look at, just sort of get a sense of what he was doing at home, his computers, go through his computers. So what you would normally see in these types of situations is going on right now, and this is going to be work that's going to go on through the night. And then tomorrow morning, he's supposed to be in court. So police will certainly learn a lot about him through the night.
Okay, so he's supposed to be in court in the morning. And then talk to me more about some information on his social media posts again, Shimon.
Yeah, so these are some of his Instagram posts. And we heard the sheriff there all day in his press conference raise issues with the social media, his background, their background check of him, and what they were able to find was really disturbing items on his social media pages. The items about guns, different things he talked about, killing law enforcement, and really concerning to them, and wondering, the police there wondering, why is it that when he expressed the words he used about killing, the pictures that he used of the weapons, why is it that no one went to police to report this? He certainly right now was not on the police, on the radar of the police, but certainly when you look at the type of items he was posting, open for anyone to see on Instagram, it raises a lot of questions for police as to why no one reported him. And the sheriff sort of stressed this tonight. He, in his last press conference of the evening, he said, you know, this whole idea of you see something, say something. And he kept talking about that because time and time again in these types of situations, we do hear this, where someone sees something, they just think, hey, you know what, I'm going to ignore it, it doesn't seem like a big deal. But in the end, it turns out to be a big deal. And, you know, if you listen to the sheriff tonight, it just seemed like he was concerned that there were some missed opportunities here in trying to prevent this because no one alerted the police about him.
Shimon, thank you very much. Get any more information, please come back and report it to us. I want to bring in now CNN contributor Wesley Lowery. He's a national reporter for the Washington Post. Chris Swecker is a former FBI assistant director of the Criminal Investigative Division. Chris, you just heard the news. To me, it floors me. And listen, I don't know everything. I sit here, I don't know everything about gun laws. I don't know everything about weapons. But what I do have is common sense. So you can get a handgun at 21 years old, right? But at 18, you can buy an assault-style weapon. You can't buy a handgun when you're 18. What is the sense? Can you please, I really want to know this, and I don't mean to be facetious about this. What is the logic behind that? How does that make sense?
I don't know the logic behind it, but actually in Florida, if you're 18, you can get either. So Florida has one of the most liberal gun laws in the country. If you look at
so that's not a
I've said this
federal
before, if you
regulation,
look at
that's by state?
Right, correct. Now, if you look at the website of the International Association of Chiefs of Police, the largest police organization in the country, the Major City Chiefs Association, all the major law enforcement associations, they've come out against these assault weapons, especially these AR-15s, for years and years. And during the time that they were controlled or banned, violent gun crime went down 66%. So the assault weapons they're not the only issue here. There's many other issues involved, but they are one of the issues here.
Mm-hmm. So, Chris, once again, we see these images of young children running out of their school, hands above their heads. Law enforcement, the swamp's at a mass shooting scene. You can see them all there standing. Look at that. Look at the scene. We have seen these scenes, these images before. What will investigators be looking for at a crime scene here?
Well, there are a lot of things going on right now. The FBI's evidence response team is looking very hard at the crime scene, his movements, tracking his movements from start to finish. What's more important, though, is you talked about the sort of the early warning system, the see something, say something. This kid was flashing red. There were neon signs over his left shoulder from his social media posts. He was about to go off. And I've seen his social media posts from 2 years ago, and he's posing with weapons, he's posing with knives, he's making threats. 219 followers, that's 219 chances that someone could have picked up the phone and made a phone call. This is the most egregious example of nobody picking up the phone and making that call, whether it's a teacher, a parent, or somebody that saw his posts on the internet. But this kid was flashing red.
Yeah. We keep asking, what were signs missed, or, if there was anything you can do. I mean, we've done this with every single shooting that I've been here, and I've been sitting on this anchor desk for CNN for 12 years now, almost 13 years. Do we ever really does it ever make sense? Do we ever find out what the issue is beyond the one common denominator here, which is what? The one common denominator is guns. Yeah, I'm talking. That's for you.
Yeah, I mean, there are always lessons learned. There have been many things that have changed over the years, but mainly in the area of trying to prevent these incidents from a school security standpoint, from law enforcement response aspects. I do school security assessments. I'm up on the most recent security techniques, the things that will work or have the best chance of working. It's a combination of things, Don, but I still go back to that first line of defense, which is the people that can observe the behavior of this person and know in your heart that something bad is about to happen, but you're reluctant to pick up the phone and stigmatize that person, right, and draw law enforcement attention to them because you're afraid that maybe you're wrong.
Yeah. Well, the stigma is not whether someone has a mental issue, a mental health issue. That's not the stigma. I think the issue is allowing those people, that kind of person, to have access to a weapon, right, especially an assault-style weapon. Wes Lowry, you've been sitting by patiently here. You heard the new information. He was able to legally buy an assault-style weapon at 18. Perhaps he wouldn't have been able to do that with a handgun, but I'm hearing from Chris Swecker, at 18 you can do both in the state of Florida, legally.
Sure, and I think that each of these shootings, and Don, you've been talking about the years you've been here at CNN covering these. My entire career has been going from one of these shootings to the next of these shootings. It feels like it's one of the only constant things each year is that we're going to find ourselves here having this conversation. We were here in Vegas and in Sutherland Springs and in Charleston, right? And the list goes on, and it seems almost endless going back to Columbine. And the details are different in each of these cases, right? So in this specific case, it does seem, based on what we know so far, that there were some clear and obvious warning signs of who this person was, and perhaps that he might have been someone who was a risk. You think of other cases, Stephen Paddock in Vegas, who we still don't really have any explanation of why he had done this, and it seems, based on what we know, that it might have been difficult for someone to have spotted him beforehand. You've been kind of getting at it through this conversation, that there are a clear common denominator here here. Certainly some element of mental illness, but also the access to these weapons, right? That we are the only country where this is routinely happening this way, where our children are being slaughtered as they sit in their high schools and their elementary schools, where we know that our Valentine's Day might be interrupted in the middle of the afternoon as cell phone video burst into our phones of children and their hands trembling as they hear gunshots in their high school hallways, right? This is something that, you know, we run the risk of becoming desensitized to, but frankly that we're all traumatized by, that we've been going through decades of this, that every few months we know we're going to be confronted with this trauma and with this terror that frankly a lot of our brothers and sisters across the world do not have to worry about walking into a church, walking into a synagogue or a mosque or a high school or an elementary school and being gunned down this way.
Nicholas Jacob Cruz?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. You are charged with 17 counts of premeditated murder. I have something very important to tell you. You're charged with some very serious crimes. You have the right to remain silent. If you give up that right at any time during this hearing, whatever you say can and will be used against you in the prosecution of this case. State, how would you like to proceed today? Are you seeking to hold the defendant no bond and a finding of proof evident, presumption great?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you may proceed.
Your Honor, the state's relying on the sworn affidavit that the court has been provided as to the 17 counts of first-degree murder and the contents of the sworn affidavit by detectives citing the actions of the defendant in going to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School on February 14th, 2018, with a premeditated design in that he went loaded with an AR-15 rifle. He had additional ammunition with him and shot 17 individuals who later died as a result of the gunshot wounds, and then he fled the scene. So the state is seeking a no bond hold on the defendant.
Okay, defense?
Your Honor, the defense has no arguments at this time and will defer until further court proceedings. We would formally invoke Mr. Cruz's right to remain silent, and that notification relates to any law enforcement agencies that are involved in this case, both at a state and federal level.
Okay, I've reviewed the probable cause affidavit. Mr. Cruz filed in your case, and I find probable cause. I further find the proof of guilt to be evident or the presumption great. Therefore, Mr. Cruz, you're going to be held without bond until further order of the court. This order is without prejudice for you to file a motion to set bond with your assigned division judge and request a hearing under State v. Arthur. Does anybody know, has he been assigned a division judge yet?
Yes, he has, Your Honor. He's been assigned to Judge Shears.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Sir, you're going to be held no bond.
So, the one thing that I will say that I do not like is, of course, how the narrative is being written. It's being written in such a way that, you know, they're saying, oh, well, you know, he lost his dad here, you know, lost his mother here. He was adopted by another family. He suffers from autism. And I mean, here's the thing. These may all be facts, but I truly don't give a flying fuck. Because none of this justifies anything that he has done. There are many children who grew up without their parents. Many children who have been adopted. Many children who have been adopted and their adopted parents have passed away. Many. So, they ain't sat here and shot up no damn schools. And then them putting the whole, him having autism on there. I'm surprised that, you know, like mental health groups are not, you know, coming against this. Because now what are you trying to say? That anybody that has autism is automatically going to sit here and shoot something up and trying to paint the narrative where, oh, let's have compassion. I have a lot, but not for this. Someone where it was premeditated. Apparently, allegedly, there's, you know, he has even said online, you know, I don't know how factual it is, but that he would be a shooter. And I think that was somewhat like 6 months ago. Like, it's a whole lot of information. But I can't help but I can't have any sympathy for you. And my thing is, as fucked up as what I'm about to say is going to sound, if you feel so inclined that you need to go and you shoot up a fucking school, a theater, a church, if you feel that you have to sit and take somebody else's life, take your own. I know I shouldn't say that. I know that I shouldn't. But why, like, my thing is this, what did his peers, what did they do to him? Absolutely nothing. And it's funny how in the more urban schools there happen to be metal detectors, but in the more suburban schools there's not. Because I'm trying to figure out how, because apparently he took an Uber there, had all this stuff, I believe, in the backpack, and was able to just go in and just wreak havoc. It's a sad day. The only thing, like, when it comes to, because I know a lot of people are talking about gun control. I really don't, I can't really speak on it because, like I said, I'm not a gun owner. So I don't know the process. And I try not to speak on something that I'm not very knowledgeable about. Because even with gun control, I mean, we do know that even if there's gun control, there's going to be ways for people to get, you know, weapons illegally if they so want it. So what I will say is maybe, just maybe, more schools need to have metal detectors. But I don't know if that's an end-all, be-all. You all let me know, what do you feel are actual possible solutions? So there is a viral video of a Applebee's racially profiling black women. So after two patrons were accosted by police officers, the restaurant manager and mall officers accusing them of being a different set of African American diners who ate at the restaurant the day prior and didn't pay for their food. Because I guess all black people look alike, I guess. So I want to show you the video that was posted. I'm also going to show you what the a spokesperson from the chain said. I'll be right back.
We have not been here. This is not.
Be sure to get my good side.
No, we really have not.
Yeah,
been
tell her
here.
to come and meet us or something.
Listen to me. Am I yelling at you?
No, but
Okay,
I think.
just listen to me. Was I yelling at you? Was
We
I
have not been here.
We just
want to make sure. Is
Okay.
all. We have not been here.
Okay.
Like,
Why are you yelling?
we have not
This is
been
catching us
here.
off guard. We've been shopping here. We're
Listen
just trying
to
to
me.
have a nice
Okay.
dinner.
Let's do a little role reversal.
Can we just pay for our food?
Listen, no.
We haven't done anything.
Hang on. Let's do a little role reversal here. Put yourself in my shoes. What would you do?
I mean, you're doing your job, but this restaurant is not doing its job. Because if she's positive that she's seen us, we haven't been here. This is my first time in here. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay, just relax. They're going to make a decision. Just relax.
We have not been here.
I don't. Look, you got to understand.
Do they have cameras? Can you see when we walk into the mall?
I'm a college student. I live on campus. Like, I have not been here. Like, I've been on duty at Rutgers University. Like, I'm not here. Prissy. So we're at Applebee's, and they said we were here last night and didn't pay for our food. And it's 2 police officers.
What?
And we have not been to Applebee's. So
Applebee's at the
at Independence Mall.
What?
Let me take off my hat or something so y'all can see my face because
It worked up for nothing.
I mean, no, this is
too much of an accusation to call it nothing, because we have not been here.
I've never been accused of stealing food, walking out, dining and dashing.
You need to come up there.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I'm almost positive.
Here, come over here.
We have not been here. Oh my gosh! We have not been
Is she
here.
normally this emotional?
What's going on?
They keep the server.
She's almost positive.
The server said she's positive.
Let me get her face. She said she almost positive.
Did you tell my dog why?
It's okay, Asia. Like,
Oh my gosh!
let's just pay for our food and go.
Chrissy, I think you need to come because this is not funny.
Wow.
We have not been here.
It's okay, Asia.
You know what?
She normally act like this? We're just trying to talk.
This is not funny. Oh my god.
You never get in trouble for something
I didn't
like
say
this.
you were in
I mean,
trouble.
no, but like something like this is like.
At Independence Mall, and she said it was like, I don't know if you need to check. I don't know what you need to check, but we have not been here.
Yeah, can you look at
last
the
night? I went to.
If you guys would, if you stop talking over me, I'll explain to you. She has to listen to me and stop.
He says I have to listen to him. Okay, what are you saying, sir?
Okay. What they're telling me is that they want you to go ahead and pay your bill and leave and not come back.
Okay, that's perfectly fine.
Not come back to Applebee.
That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly
Oh,
fine.
this is going to end that. This needs to go viral. This is racially profiled. She said she's almost positive it was us. It's okay. We deal with this all the time. Black people in America gotta deal with this all the time. If you watch him, we supposedly stole our food. Okay? This is what black people have to deal with. If you want to know what black people have to deal with, it's okay. It's cool. Let's pay and let's go. This is definitely what black people have to deal with. It's okay.
Wow.
It's just okay. We can get out of here.
All my stuff is.
It's okay. We getting out of here.
Chrissy, I'm not gonna stop crying. I don't need a dog for mine.
I don't know. She gave me two.
You got something.
Asia, I need you to get that officer's name.
Can I have your name?
It's Officer Eccles. It's right here.
Okay, you told me his name.
Okay. And let him know. Tell him you are my person.
Dude, I tried, Chrissy. I don't know what this is. But did you find mine? There's not a stick.
I don't know. Make sure she's
There's
there.
not another.
I don't know. Make sure we find it for her.
She's too emotional.
It's not another receipt to sign for it.
Did you see this paper, or did you want, or did she put everything on one? What did you guys order?
Did she? Is that what she did?
The wings from supposedly yesterday. I got wings and a burger. She got mozzarella sticks and a quesadilla. Okay. And I got all this is from right now, right?
Yeah. So it's just on that one. Then can you give me my card back?
I'll give it to you.
Okay.
Okay. So did you just put it on one ticket?
I'm not
Did you know? Do you know if she?
Well, can you just give me my card back since you don't know?
Yeah. Here you go. All right. I'll be back.
I don't know what this is, but this is great.
Tell me something.
Yeah, everything's on one ticket. Yes. Yes. Everything's on this one ticket, but I just want to make sure because she cut my card and didn't swipe it. So if she needs my card, she can swipe it.
Are you guys done with them? Can you find out? So they can go.
It's okay, bro. It's just. I'm gonna come back to. Okay.
Are you done with them? Pull it together. Are you done with them? Are you done with them?
She's right, manager's right there.
Are you done with them? Okay.
Wait, what's your name? Holly. Holly what? Mady. Holly Mady?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
All right,
Let's go, bro. I'm calling a report, complaint.
All right.
Let's go.
Hey, make sure you spell my name right.
Oh, yeah. Did you write his name down?
She got it.
Put Holly Mady on there, too. What's the girl? Can we get the person who reported us to this official report?
I have no idea.
Crazy, girl.
This is one of those where I don't like. I'm not gonna say boycott or do anything like that. This is one of those where obviously this is the actions of a singular person, but it's hard for me to believe that this person, like people that worked with this person, did not know that their mindset was like this. I mean, there's always simple solutions. Be wary about, where you spend your money, where you invest your money into. I mean, worst case scenario, just cook your food at home, pack a lunch, and you don't have to, or, if you want to have, a girls' night, boys' night, or a group hangout, hey, somebody just cooking, y'all just go over their place. Kind of avoid some of this shit, but it's sad. But as I've stated in my previous tabloids and trending topics with T, like I said, we do live in a very heightened racial climate right now, so. In other news, LeVar Ball. Now, he pretty much is saying that Lonzo will not resign from the Lakers unless they sign his brother. So this is a little snippet that I got. So it says LeVar Ball and Lonzo Ball will attempt to leave the Lakers if the franchise doesn't sign LaMelo Ball and LiAngelo Ball. Lonzo Ball's two younger brothers are currently playing in Lithuania. Lonzo Ball would be unable to leave as an unrestricted free agent until 2023 season. I don't know what that is. I don't do sports, but maybe y'all know. And LeVar pretty much said, I want all three of my boys to play for the Lakers. But if that doesn't happen, I'm telling you the story that going to be first. If they don't take Gilo this year, I will bring Gilo here to play with Melo for 2 years. Lonzo will be on the third year, and I want to let every NBA team know that Lonzo is not going to re-sign with the Lakers, but will go to any team that will take all three of my boys. That's my plan. All right. First, I want to say, if that's how he feels, that's how he feels. I'm not going to knock this father, for sitting here trying to, I guess, secure the bag for the children and whatnot. So I'm not mad about that. What I will say is, I forget which son it is, only because of the simple fact that it made me so mad the last time I talked about it, but I'm pretty sure it was LiAngelo Ball that took his ass to China and decided that he wanted to steal. And it took the president having to sit here and, work a deal to bring his ass back to the States where he could be dealt with. So you are really not so for LeVar to, be so inclined to want to sit here and play this bargaining tool. First and foremost, you have a cancer, which is one of your children that decided to go to another country. and literally make the U.S. look bad? Do you really think the Lakers, or any team for that matter, really wants that? And from what I understand, again, I don't watch sports, but from what I understand, his son, which one is it? Wait, no, Lonzo ain't doing all that motherfucking well anyway. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about it. I think it's comical and it's just stupid. Okay, gotta talk about Alexis Sky again this week. Look, she has a child by Fetty Wap. The child is was born 5 months. So I believe at 5 months it was born, which means that it was premature. Obviously, it's premature. And apparently, let me see. Oh crap! I lost it. I think the girl name is Camilla Poindexter, and I believe that she is from Bad Girls Club, commenting on the fact that she is a horrible mother, saying as to how her child is still in a hospital developing, but she's doing photo shoots in the club, doing all this other stuff everywhere but with her child. So I'm going to show you what they had to say, and I'll come back. So here's my stance on this. I ain't here to tell nobody how to raise their kids. But if these club appearances and whatnot is how Alexis makes her money to take care of her child, so be it. But at the same exact time, if your child is, still developing, and Fetty is out doing whatever it is that he wants to do, it does look kind of crazy if, she's not there. But again, this is not my child. This ain't my relationship. It ain't got nothing to do with me. And this is one of those cases of, once old girl put her name on this situation, that will, of course, Alexis had a clap back. And it also goes back to everybody feeling with social media that their voices just need to be heard, and everybody has this, entitlement of self. And again, you have freedom of speech, but, again, for every action, there's an equal greater reaction. So it just is what the fuck it is. But ultimately, it's one of those where, how about, kind of keep your mouth off that person's business and just worry about what you got going on. All right, so to kind of sit here and liven this shit up, because like I said, I really do feel like I've been nothing but a Debbie Downer this whole entire time. The internet has drugged Sammy Sosa. I'm just going to show you why. Check this out. If Sammy feels this is what he has to do to feel better about himself, that's his life. You gotta live your life for you. What I will say is that, whatever he's struggling with and whatever self-hate that he is going through, that he needs some therapy. And also with all this skin bleaching, I really just hope that he stays out of the sun, because I'm pretty sure with him, messing with his melanin, I'm pretty sure he's not producing anymore. It's going to, how can I say this? He's going to be at a higher risk for skin cancer. So, but yeah, internet drug the fuck out of that ass. And last but not least, before we get into Spotlight, and actually this probably should have been rolled into there, but for those of you who either A, have not seen Get Out or want to see it again, on President's Day, which is Monday, Get Out is going to be played in a few AMC theaters across the country. And guess what? It's free 99. So, spit it out. Now, mind you, I'm pretty sure you still got to buy, popcorn, soda, and all that stuff, but the movie is free. So, there's that. And time for the spotlight. Shine some light on some people. Matt Barnes plans to produce a biopic about Huey P. Newton of the Black Panthers. I know a lot of people are, getting on him about that, but as long as it's done right, I have nothing to say. Sheryl Lee Ralph will be joining the cast of Clause 2 for Season 2, so congrats to her. Mary J. Blige will be starring in The Umbrella Academy on Netflix, so 2018 is already starting off good for Miss Mary J. Blige, so congrats to her. Singer Melly Fiona got engaged on Valentine's Day, so congrats to her. Serena Williams surprised Black Girls Code Youth Group with a private Black Panther screening, and she was also there. So, like I said, kudos to her. Drake gave away nearly $1 million to Miami folk in his Miami Folk in Need in his new God's Plan, I believe, music video. And he gave out money to a college student, almost like a grant. Went to a woman's shelter, gave money to some of them, purchased food for mothers in need, donated 2 cars to some unsuspecting people. Drake did the damn thing, and I can't be mad at him for it. And especially even though it's like 2 separate things, but with everything that's going on in Florida right now, that was definitely a great thing to do. And last but not least, Solange is being honored as Harvard's 2018 Artist of the Year, and that will be on March 3rd. So that is it. That is all that I have for this week's tabloids and trending topics with T. Again, if there's any topics that you guys would like for me to discuss for next week's edition, please get them into me, preferably by Friday night, Saturday morning. Well, yeah, early Saturday morning for you guys, because like right now it's, oh gosh darn, I turned this off, didn't I? It's turning off now. It's 7:08 at night here in Europe currently. So I'm recording it now because I'm going to go ahead and take my time to edit and upload this at the latest by tomorrow, because when I did this last week, I didn't go to bed until 2:00 a.m. Monday morning. And if you guys remember from the part 1 of Tabloids Trending Topics with T from last week, once it got to Spotlight, you only saw about this much of my face because I didn't drag the file up to compensate for, little border piece. So I want to make sure that I actually take my time to make sure you guys get a good quality. Granted, I do understand that most of the time, a lot of people don't always watch the video, but for those that do, I do want, everything to look a certain way. So, yeah, so if you got any topics and source, like, send me the topics and sources to spillingallthetea@gmail.com. Please send those in to me, again, at the latest early Saturday morning. And like I said, we'll talk it out, and hopefully we have a hell of a lot more and we can actually like truly shoot this shit, because right now I'm just past 26 minutes of me just sitting here talking, and that's without all of the added bells and whistles. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have a blessed week. Continue to keep all of those, especially in Florida, in your thoughts and prayers. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see you guys on the next video. Oh crap, and I said I do Married to Medicine. Yeah, I gotta go. Peace.